Hey, what's up, guys? Mark Conley from Daily Soccer Skills, and I wanted to follow up with an email I got from a player the other day. It was a really interesting email, and that's why I wanted to kind of bring it to everyone's attention here because I think we've probably, maybe if we've played the game a little bit, we've all been through this situation on some level. And the point of the email was, what do I do when my coach has me playing a position or asks me to play a position that I don't necessarily want to play? And so, I mean, it's a good question because, like for example, I grew up always playing like a striker, and then I get to college and they want me to play on the winger, and it's like, oh man, I don't really enjoy it. But what I found was that when I went out wide, I had more time and I could actually be a little bit more effective in the game. So what I thought was going to kind of be a stumbling block actually ended up being an opportunity. So and just to kind of dovetail on that, there's a player right now that I train. She's probably one of the top under 15 forwards in Southern California right now. And when she gets called into the U.S. national team camps, they like her playing on the outside back. And so the way that the modern game is played right now, typically you're 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. It's all predicated on those wing backs kind of getting forward a lot, and they really like her coming out of the back, carrying the ball. She's an offensive threat, great striker and deliverer of the ball for service. So she brings a lot to the table there. So what I would encourage you is, the way I would answer this is, number one, you're part of a team. It's not, it's not Mark Conley FC or whatever your name is, FC. You're part of a team, and your coach kind of sees something for the greater good. So take the compliment. I mean, he could easily say, okay, you're just going to sit on the bench because this player is better than you, or I'm going to put somebody else in this role. And that's well within their right to do that, is to put the player that wants to play in that position. So take the compliment. He or she at least want you on the field. And the other thing is, look at the opportunity. I mean, maybe he sees something about your game that you don't see. And this happens. I mean, we think we know everything. I mean, I think I know a lot, but something happens every day. Like my 3-year-old shows me something that I didn't even think about. So just understand that, okay, this may not be an ideal situation, but I'm going to give it everything I have, and you never know what's going to come of that. You could find that, whoa, I'm really good in this position. And this has happened for me as a coach several times, where I got a little bit of static from a player for putting him in a position. 6 months later, they're lights out in that position. Their parents are thinking that's the best thing that's ever happened to them. So sometimes, coaches will see something that the player doesn't see. Run with the opportunity. No matter what it is, if you're given playing time, run with the opportunity. Okay? Now, the next step would be, so sometimes things happen in games, right? Or in training. For example, I recently had a player before a big, one of our big National Cup games. He get a grade 3 sprain on his ankle. And so this was my best player, one of my best players. And so at that point, it's I've got to shift a lot of things around so that we're stable, yet we can still get, offensive pressure and opportunities, but still defensive. And so sometimes injuries are going to occur. That's just part of the game. Flat, no getting around it. And so your coach has to adjust and make things happen so that your team can still be successful. And so sometimes that might be you having to move to a position where it's not your ideal spot, but it's for the greater good of the team. And the same thing can actually happen with red cards. I mean, you'll see this all the time in the pro games where, a back will get a defensive back will get a red card. The next thing you know, an attacking midfielder or a forward has to get subbed off so they can bring on another back. Well, the forward didn't do anything wrong. The defensive back got the red card, but now they're both kind of being punished a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes injuries come up, cards come up, and coaches have to adjust for the greater good of the team. And so just remember that it's always a little bit bigger than yourself. Now, but let's just forget the opportunity. So we've covered the opportunity. We've covered the injuries and the cards. What happens when it seems like this is the coach's long-term plan for you? The coach says, you know what, this dude's a goalkeeper. This girl's she's a number 6, and you're convinced that you're a number 9 or a number 10. At that point, you have to have that little conversation with the coach and say, listen, I know I might be doing well at this position, or I know you might see me here, but my heart's just not in it. At that point, the coach is going to say, well, what if we do 50% your way, 50% my way, or what if, or he'll say, maybe this isn't the right fit for you. Maybe you have to go to a different team where you can do what you want to do full time. or they'll find some way to work with you. You just need to have that conversation with them and just make sure it works for both of you, because I mean, it's his time, it's his team, and it's it's your time, and how you want to develop. And so if a coach is convinced that this is the spot for you, and like if he wants you to play in the number 6 or the goalkeeper, and you're just not feeling it, then maybe you got to start thinking about looking elsewhere, so that you can find a level where you can do what it is that you want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. So just in short, just to recap, sometimes when you're playing out of position, it's not always the greatest thing in the world, but look for the opportunity in it. There's often an opportunity where you're going to learn something, you're going to see the game a little bit differently. You might find that your skill sets are best matched for that position, and you'll start to thrive there. So look for the opportunity. Don't just pigeonhole yourself and saying, I'm this position and this position only. The second part, acknowledge that you're doing something for the greater good of the team. Take the compliment. The coach at least trusts you to be on the field and he wants you in that position. But at the same time, understand that if a player's been injured or there's a card situation, you're taking one for the team, and do your part for the greater good of the team. And then the final part would be, if it looks like it's going to be a long-term thing, I mean, I'm talking like 6 months, 12 months, plus. At that point, maybe talk to the coach and say, "Okay, listen, I know you got me here, but," and kind of go from there. All right, guys, enough talking. Get out there and play what position your coach needs you to play, and do it to the best of your ability. That's all you can do.